In June 2012, SADA awarded an afforestation contract to ACI Construction Limited to plant 5 million trees in the SADA zone. My investigation has revealed that this company is a building and construction firm. It had no record of undertaking any tree planting project. My investigation into the project more than a year after the trees were planted showed a high level of failure. In the 3 regions I visited, only a few of the locations had some appreciable level of survival. At the Poitenga site in the Upper West region, a small plantation of acacia near a pond was doing well. At Zingu in the Wa municipality, 1.5 hectare of acacia was also thriving. This site is also near a source of water. At Nakori, also in the Wa municipality, the 15 workers who were engaged to do the afforestation project said they worked for 16 months but were paid for only 7 months. They resorted to voluntary service to keep the 8-hectare mahogany plantation alive using water from a nearby pond.
If we get some small work, we went and did and get some small petrol and put on the machine.
So you take other jobs, and when you get money, you buy fuel and...
Yes.
The afforestation sites that had high level of survival were close to water and were relatively small. The larger plantations I visited had a lot of the trees withering. At Nkanchina number 2 site in the northern region, most of the plants were withering.
October no no buy no. No one say aduru dry season. Until Indianu bebre awu.
At the site near Pandai Senior High School, the story was not different. Here, I discovered that equipment that was to be used to care for the plantation was left to rust. This is the Sada afforestation site near Bao Barracks in Tamale. The wooden pegs indicate where trees were planted. A lot of the trees had withered and some were still withering at the time I visited. At the site near Kamina Barracks, also in Tamale, not even a single tree planted here survived at the time of the visit. This is the Sada afforestation site at Boku Tampielum in the Boku Central Municipality of the Upper East region. In most of the sites we visited, we realized that there was no source of water, but just behind me is a dam. But all the trees here are dead. On this site near Zebila, the story of Sada's afforestation project was no different. The Upper East Regional Coordinator of the afforestation project, Raymond Agonto, took me round some Sada afforestation sites near Bolgatanga. Oh, okay. Which farm is this one?
This is one of the sites in Congo. Yeah. Basically, we planted acacia and teak. This is about 3 hectares.
3 hectares?
Yes. We would have planted more, but because of land issues, they only gave us this site. Yeah.
So how many trees did you plant here?
This place, we planted about 4,500 trees.
4,500? It doesn't look like it's a good story here. What was the problem?
Basically, you could see that it's recently that the animals came in, chop off the seedlings. But we laid the workers off from 1st October, and since then they've not been here. That led to the animals coming in.
At Zingu in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region, the project coordinators had to struggle to show me where trees were planted. Parts of this plantation had been burnt by bushfire. So, is the Sada afforestation project a success story? This is the question I put to the man who managed this project.
We have been around, you see how hot the sun is. If the trees go 1 month, 2 months without water, it's a different story. And as you can see, the whole place is getting brown. When the animals see anything green, they're going to graze on it. So if there's no one to drive away the animals, there's no one to protect fire from getting onto the plantation, there's no one to water, it can be a success story.
You see, the focus was plant trees, create employment. So number 1 is, has employment been created? The youth who will be employed, have they really been employed? Number two, the trees that we say should be planted. Have the trees been planted? These are the two focal issues that we will use to be able to determine the achievement or otherwise of the intervention.
Some part of the Sada zone has a thick vegetation cover. The northern region, for instance, houses Ghana's biggest wildlife forest, the Mole National Park. These areas clearly do not need the afforestation project, but I found out that forests were cleared to make way for the afforestation project in some of the locations. At Blema in the northern region, economic trees such as shea had to be felled to make way for the project.
Some say idea been na adie so happy. Now we make bi say yan yi fa no so mfrima. Yan fa yi twetwa bi mfrima. Anya de adie no batime gina. Ya ha no so ukodo ofu a na osisa adie we yetimi nkiwo. Na ha no so akoye banjuma no ntira ma we mama kwan so ama yeso yen kwan ye de.
Nti ha wo do afo na wo shin bia we yetimi kiwo.
Ye bakiwo. Wow. Ya mra wo an ye bakiwo.
If you take tree planting, I was the project director for Savannah Resource Management Project, a World Bank project. That was in Tamale there. We did everything about tree planting. We realized that there were more problems with tree planting than the natural vegetation. So we went into natural regeneration where you try to manage the natural vegetation in terms of pruning and doing all the cultural practices. Within that, you can now integrate tree planting so that the entire tree population is part of the project. But I'm beginning to see an attempt to clear the natural vegetation and plant trees. And I said, well, it has been done before.
SADA covers 5 regions. Now, when you come out with an activity and some regions are completely left out, that in itself has got its own ramifications.
And let me give you a solution. For instance, you say, for let's say Techiman, you have a lot of trees. Bongo is a very a desert area. Desertification is just taking over that place. So we are taking tree planting to Bongo, but with this same amount of money, instead of undertaking a tree planting project in your area, let's give you something else because you don't need it. Would that not have solved the problem?
That would have complicated it.
I was given a job to execute, and the job was supposed to be from A to Z. I couldn't have left out some.
Oh, yes, but you could have told them that you asked me to plant trees. There are already trees here. It doesn't make sense to clear trees and plant trees.
You know something?